2020, and we will also discuss the most relevant topics for now, and also what will be the goals for 2021. I will share my presentation, and so we start. So I hope you can see the screen. How was 2020 and what to expect from 2021? The topics today is market review of 2020. What good points can we see in the tough situation that we've had? We also want to go through the opportunities and challenges we face and we work on in the current segments. Of course, we have some general challenges regarding the foam sample. I will speak a little bit about new markets and new segments, applications, which we are pre-studying right now. There will be a short electric vehicle status report. We will come more into that topic later on during the webinar sessions for the winter spring. We are scheduling in March to have a more detailed discussion regarding electrical vehicles. And then we finalize it with a market outlook from FogMaker and for you as a partner for 2021. A little bit of what goals, what targets do we have? This is the sales for 2020 for FogMaker International. And as you can see, we had a decline in sales, and we have a decreased turnover with 14%. Compared with a lot of others working with the vehicle or heavy vehicle industry, this is actually quite good if you compare with the rest of Europe. And we estimate the COVID effect to be minus 25%. So we have gained market shares, especially in the other segments apart from bus. And what we have seen, honestly, is that the volumes for the bus customers have really decreased a lot. But yeah, we cannot see that kind of decline in the figures, which is good. We had a continued focus on payments on time. And I think it's important to use this channel to let you know that FogMaker is supportive in all the ways we can to gain business. But it's important also for you to know that we cannot be your bank. And this is not a general issue, but we have some problems here and there with this. And you can also see the blue marked part of this diagram. We will discuss that later, what to expect for the future. This is the regional sales development for 2020. And it's obvious that some markets have had a really tough time. The dark green ones are the ones which have increased more than 10%. We are very happy about that. Some of them have gone from a very low level, of course, which makes it easier. But some of you have made a tremendous work during the year, finding new markets, finding new customers, increasing in this really tough environment with travel restrictions, etc. So I wish to say thank you to you. It was very hard work that pays off. And we can also see, of course, that we have markets with such a big problem. So there have been a decrease. And of course, all of this presentation will be sent to you after, or introduced in Teams, so you can look at it later on if you want to go more into details. We speak a lot about segments nowadays, and here you can see a graph showing the split of the segments for the sales. And the blue one is you as a partner. As you can see, the partner sales has grown a lot. The importance is extreme, I would say, in your performance regarding sales. And what we also wish to introduce this year, I will come to that later, is that you report back to us, so we also can split the partner sales into the different segments. Of course, bus is the second one. Bus is our main market. And then you have all the others. And what we can conclude is that the partner sales have a bigger share of the cake now than 2019. But in actual figures, it has decreased with 10 million Swedish crowns, so roughly 1 million euro. And we can also conclude that bus is a segment with the hardest fall. It has dropped with 30 million SEK, so 3 million euro. And this is even though we have achieved several new big accounts in 2020. We have taken market shares, and still we have a drop of 30 million SEK in the bus business. The share of direct segment sales from Fogmaker International directly to OEMs outside of bus has increased from 5.8% to 7.9%. So our long-term goal is that the other segments should grow, and the COVID crisis has made it go quicker than I thought, because the bus goes down and then of course the other ones grow in importance. But there is also an increase in actual figures for the segments outside of bus, which is really good. We estimate that the bus now stands for 75% of the total sales, including partners. But without the reporting from you, it's very hard to present exact figures. We come back to this with the reporting because I want to say something more about that later on. Now we go into the segments. And regarding bus, we can say that we are entering new markets, new regions. We are approaching the electrical vehicle side. And we'll come back to that also. We see a growing understanding that fire suppression is needed also for electric vehicles, but the OEMs tend to choose the cheapest option they can find. This means that we need to work closer with the end customer and the operators to have them understand that the aerosols and powder bombs will not do the job. Many of them already have a great deal of Fogmaker in their fleets. They are not so interested in introducing new brands for fire suppression. We are right now putting together a big reference list of all major customers. This is intended to be used for marketing, and it's of course sensitive information. We will distribute this to the partner network, and it must be used internally. But it's very good for you to have the knowledge which are these customers that Fogmaker has. So we will distribute that within a couple of weeks. And this year will be a challenge. It starts off really slow, we can see that. But we already now see a trend that in March it will increase. And most of the customers we have spoken with lately think that there will be a normalization in the autumn. We also have the introduction of the city intercity that will give higher volumes. We thought that particular how to say, kick in the sales should have come already 2020, but it seems like the manufacturers are pushing it forward as far as they can. I think it's mainly due to the COVID situation. Q3 will be the start. And of course, we also see tougher and tougher competition. The OEMs have already tended to inquire alternatives to gain cost advantages. So it will be a tough market ahead of us. For you to know that this year we have gained new OEM customers, Temsa. We have gotten deeper into BYD for electrical, and also Marco Polo in South America is now a customer account. And as you can see to the right, a graph showing the sales development. And we think we will kick back to 2019 volumes this year. But it will tend to be in the second half of the year.
And also, just add on, Andreas here, the coach market will be probably quite dead also this year as it was 2020.
Yes. Trucks, new segment, very interesting. We are working hard now to finalize the segment plan. We see great opportunities, and it's also driving our product development in the direction of simplicity and cost focus. The coming year will be, I would say, extremely interesting. We start off from a very low level. We have increased the sales in 2020 with 60% compared to 2019, and we think we will at least double it in this year. And the main areas right now is wood chips and timber trucks. And the driver, of course, as in many other segments, is the Swedish insurance policies. But we see that next step should be mining trucks. After that, we have waste management, and then we have ADR, dangerous goods transports and explosives. And I wanted to give you a teaser because I think some of you have heard about it, but we have this collaboration that we have with the new customers for trucks has led to that we have developed a new connection box for the electronics. This one will be implemented from April to reduce installation time. And yeah, we call it plug and play, and that's what it is meant to do. Plug and play. We should just plug in the cables and then it should be ready. Easy to make the wiring. The new OEM customers we have is Volvo and Scania. Of course, we dig where we stand first, and we are introducing factory installations at Volvo Truck Factory this coming month in February. And for Scania, it will take a little bit longer time, but we are definitely into that also.
Just additionally, in US, for making North America or USC, they are approaching Oshkosh, which are a huge producer of city dump trucks, compactors. You know, it's hauling and compressing the containers behind the cabin. So that's also a breakthrough after 2 years of work with waste management in the US.
So Carl is working very hard with this segment, and if you have questions, you have good leads or anything, don't hesitate to contact Carl in this issue. Material handling. We have worked a lot with this segment in the last year. We employed, as many of you know, Fredrik Grönqvist with a past from Konecranes. And he has put a lot of hard work and effort into finalizing the segment plan. We have focused a lot on both port operators and OEMs. This market consists of several big players as global accounts. For example, we have a global agreement with APMT, and we are working a lot also to come into DP World. And these are just two of the major port operators. There are more to approach, and they all tend to work a bit different. Some of them have a high level of local governance, and some of them are very centralized. So there are big opportunities here. In the meantime, of course, we work towards the OEMs to gain more traction. Konecranes is and will be an important player for us. We see more and more demands for fire suppression in the ports. The other players such as Sany, Kalmar and Heister is also in focus, and we have connections. There will be a future fusion of Konecranes and Cargotec and Kalmar. And this can be an opportunity, but also a threat, as we know that Kalmar uses DAFO today. We're working very hard on this now, and we don't know when this fusion will take place or if it will take place, because it's up to the competition legislation in Europe. We are working right now on the best way to protect ship-to-shore cranes. We are looking at mobile harbor cranes and straddle carriers. And there will be more information coming from Fredrik regarding configurations of the systems for those machine types. Some of you already have experience, and we try to benchmark as much as possible. During 2020, the segment has grown, but not much. It's very hard as we have the travel restrictions. And when we have this situation, it's extremely important that you as a partner have presence. The market is open, and I think there is a huge number of retrofits to make. Mining and tunneling. This segment is growing very slowly, and it's a very conservative market. We've had great success in Australia and South Africa historically, and we are trying to develop more robust products for the segment. The FM certificate is still pending. We have had some smaller product problems, which have made it a little bit harder than we thought. But of course, also the COVID situation has been an obstacle in this. They closed down the office for, I think 7-8 months. The competition in this field is strong with Ansell, and in some parts of the world also with DAFO. We are right now in connection with Sandvik and Normet, and we also try to approach the dealers of Komatsu and Caterpillar. Here we see great opportunities in South America, mainly Brazil and Russia. But this kind of segment needs a strong distributor presence, as they need very, very quick service. The downtime is extremely expensive. And as we can clearly see that relations are more important than the performance of the product, we need to have a really close presence. We have also seen in this segment that it's very important that we position the product right. Fogmaker shall be seen as a trustworthy premium brand, fully comparable with Ansell, but to a slightly lower price. Here we must avoid being seen as the low-cost alternative to powder solutions. It's also very important that we focus on the total cost of ownership, which we know is lower for our system in comparison with the competitors. And during 2020, the segment hasn't developed much, and we need to put a lot more effort into this segment, because I think that this is one of the major possibilities we have, both to gain good margins and a good market for the future. Any questions, Anja?
Yes, we do have a few comments here. I would like to give the word to Thomas. If you're there, Thomas.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool. So just touch on waste management real quick. So as some of you guys know, we were working with the company Waste Management directly for a few months. I guess this was 2019, trying to gain their business on installing systems on garbage trucks, mainly CNG powered front-loading garbage trucks here in the States, which is a huge market. They manufacture, I think it's somewhere around 5,000 trucks a year for that market, and Waste Management owns somewhere around 20,000 to 30,000 trucks in the country. So huge opportunity. Didn't quite go the way that we wanted it initially, but kind of worked out where Waste Management went to Oshkosh, who actually manufactures the truck bodies, and asked us to implement the system directly at the OEM level on the trash bodies. So the interesting thing is they are asking us to cover both the engine compartment and also the hopper area where the refuse is. And so that has been an interesting challenge from an engineering standpoint, trying to figure out the best way to actually use the system to cover the actual trash. So lots of testing going on there, lots of brainstorming, lots of R&D. We've been at the OEM quite a few times over the past few months, and we've come up with some really good designs that we are all very happy with. We think that we're actually installing the nozzles in the hopper, come up with some ways to protect the nozzles and mount them in there so they're not going to get destroyed. And so we definitely expect some actual orders coming out of that, definitely in 2021. Hopefully here in Q1, maybe we'll see. But very exciting, very high potential for high volumes and to work direct with OEMs there.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah, that's great. Very happy to hear this. And just to connect to that, regarding if we look at the situation in Sweden, there comes more and more demands regarding recycle stations and so on. When the garbage trucks go in there, they need to have fire suppression due to the risk of fires in those kind of recycle facilities. So I think this will come more and more all over the world.
Yeah, and previous week it was a fire in Skellefteå, that's up in the northern part of Sweden, with a biogas Scania, because it's very environmental friendly for them, because some of this waste, they return, the organic waste, and they create biogas, and they're operating very hot, and the truck caught fire, and then it's very serious because they have high pressure cylinders on board. So sometimes they want to have a gun and just blast a hole into the cylinders before they can explode. So that gave some attention, at least in the northern part of Sweden, and we think that's a good idea. In Oslo, I know that it's specified. It was previous year. Was it 20 or 60 in Oslo, the Mercedes, and now they're specifying water mist for the city dump trucks in Oslo because they're gas driven.
We also have a comment from Glenn Peterson in Norway. He also talks about waste management as the hottest market in Norway. Glenn, I don't know if you want to say something.
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. We have mounted a lot of FogMaker on the waste management cars and trucks in Oslo, the Mercedes ones, and with a big success. And it's correct that they are now asking for more trucks, and they're asking for FogMaker in their when they ask for it. So now Scania, Volvo, MAN, and Mercedes ask us for FogMaker systems mount, and then also community is buying new cars. Yeah. So this is very funny, and this is just the start. There's a lot of fires in those kind of trucks, but it was very interesting to hear Thomas, because there's a request for how can we protect the garbage back in the truck. It's a very, very big request. We really don't know how to solve it yet, because it's not easy to mount the FogMaker back there. So if Thomas is coming to good solutions there, I would really like to hear about them. So,
thank you very much. I guess Carl is noting about this, that protecting the container for with the garbage inside it is something that we really should look into.
Yeah, that's a big market.
Yes. Okay. Any more, Anja?
No, please go ahead.
Yes. Construction equipment. We have during the year developed a partnership with Harsco. We have a global agreement. They are working with slag handling. I think most of you know about it. We have added some products to the standard kits to better withstand the heat and the really, really tough environment. And here we see also possibilities of how to say, those products we have developed here can also be used on mining. And this is unique as we keep track of all installations. So there is a lot of information for you as a partner if you have a business opportunity with Harsco. Key account manager for the segment and Harsco is Erik Rydström. So if you have questions, please contact him in this. And as I write here also, we see a growing interest from waste management and lumber yards. For recycling, especially here in Sweden, a lot of construction equipment is used. So there we have a big demand. We are right now talking to Volvo to see if our solution can be an option for them. They have DAFO as standard, unfortunately. We know that Caterpillar has since many years cooperated with Ansell. But we have seen that it's always possible for the customer to order the CAT machines without fire suppression for retrofit after delivery by the dealer. And in many cases, it's cheaper for both for the end customer and the dealer to do it that way. So what it means to us is that we must get closer into the end customer, discuss more with them to go for our solution, and being very active and supportive. And for all the other manufacturers, it's a question for the local dealer to handle it. So a close connection with the dealers is also of utmost importance. And Komatsu is a good example for this. They left the decision of fire suppression systems to be handled solely by the dealer. They don't want to have a factory installed system. And the target for 2021 in this segment is to find more global accounts like Harsco or local steel mills within slag handling. This segment has decreased a bit during 2020, but we have gotten more customers, so we think it's a COVID effect. And it's also, of course, traveling restrictions holding us back.
Lars, can I interrupt you?
Yes.
There's a question from Frederick.
It's actually not a question, it's more of a follow-up point to Lars' point here on Caterpillar and Ansell and those, and that is that we're seeing more and more that people are actively choosing away Ansell as a standard installation and coming to us to install it as a retrofit instead. I think I have 7 or 8 RFQs from Caterpillar right now. And also we've actually seen in the bus segment that the bus comes including a Chinese powder system, and they still want us to install our system on top of that, although the other one is already included. So there's actually a great big pull effect from the market, so don't be afraid to go out there.
Thank you, Frederick. Forestry. This is a segment that we have not yet started the work really. It's a big market for Sweden, but for the rest of the world, of course, there is a lot of forestry industry, but mainly in spots. And we intend to start up this work now in the first quarter. And there are several targeted OEMs for this segment. It's special because it's very hard to make retrofits. There is a lack of space for the suppression system, and but of course there is a possibility of servicing. We will focus on John Deere, Ecolog, Komatsu, and Ponsse for 2021. And the markets are, apart from Northern Europe, South America, Russia, and Canada, the big ones. And the segment has been stable during 2020, and we have to get more into the manufacturers to have it grow. And we are right now in discussion with one of the big ones here in Sweden. So we hope that we will gain market here. Also, it's important for you all to know that Tiger Cat from United States is supplied through USSC. So it might exist 65 bar systems for export machines on the global markets. We're right now having a discussion around how we should handle this with a different configuration of the American and the rest of the world systems. We will get back to that later. We need a lot more discussions with USSC on how to handle the question, because we have both export from Europe to United States or North America, and vice versa. So it's a common problem which needs to be solved. Questions, Anja? No?
No, nothing at the moment.
Okay, good. Agriculture, very interesting right now. We have seen in 2020 that we have grown with 30% in this segment. And it's mainly driven by Swedish legislation. But during this year, we have seen interest from 3 manufacturers. We think that we will soon have a breakthrough on the international market. It's a matter of which one of the manufacturers who dares to be first. The main focus is on the combined harvesters due to value and risk of losing the harvest in case of fire. And there has been a great deal of fires the last summers. We hear it from everywhere. And the main reasons for those fires are lack of cleaning and, of course, long working hours for those machines. And the new engines that becomes hotter. And some models are not, designed in the best way. So there are pockets for debris to gather up. The system design is similar to construction equipment, but it will need extra liters of agent as there can be smoldering fires of fibrous material. And this is a big challenge for this segment, is how should we handle those kind of smoldering fires? When speaking to one of the large manufacturers, they were very interested in our system and told us that they thought it was perfect to prevent total loss of the machines. But they also wanted a solution that can take care of these small glow fires. And we need to find a solution for this. And we must also consider when installing to protect the belt side of the machines. A lot of fires origin from bearings, etc. So it's a bit tricky. And our competitors almost always focus on the engine, but 50% of the fire, we estimate, starts somewhere else. The target customers, Case New Holland, John Deere, Claas, Fendt, Massey Ferguson. There are several more. And as I said, we have been in contact with 3 of them directly. We also work closely with their distributors here in Sweden. And we are now working on expanding that to Denmark, Norway, Finland. A very interesting segment, and when you speak to the farmer himself, they really like our product and are really interested. There is an interest from the final user of the equipment. Airport. You might think that there is no market at all, but we have grown with 20% in 2020. Of course, there has been long lead times in this business. But we have also seen lately that when countries open up, the need comes back quite quick. We have an inquiry now for 8 machines in China, for example. And here is a great deal of retrofit opportunities. One obstacle is that it's very hard to standardize. We can see that the machines manufactured it's small volume, and they are very different depending on the customer demands. We have seen in some cases where we think we have set the standard for a certain model, and then the next machine comes from the manufacturing and it looks different. So please be aware that it's not just making a type installation and set a risk assessment, because it needs to be done. Even if it's the same model, you might need to do it once again. We have business with Kalmar Motor and Goldhofer established. And there are several target accounts, such as TLD in France. We have Douglas in UK and in USA. We have Treppel, you have Mulag in Germany. There are a lot of manufacturers. Small volume and perfect for you partners to approach, I would say. The focus now in the beginning have been the pushback tractors. But yeah, as soon as the wheels start rolling again, we have to go on for the other equipment that is attached to the planes. GPUs, fuel trucks, of course the buses are there also. A good operation could be that we, globally contact the airlines, airport operators and rental companies involved in the business to gain ground quicker. Erik Blomgren is decided to as a segment responsible for this, and maybe he could coordinate something later on when the wheels start turning again. It's good for you to know and have an update in this also. We've had some also, I need to say that also, we've had some success stories where we have put out fires lately in Middle East, for example. That was the segments. Any more questions, Anja?
No questions.
Yeah. General challenges, I have pointed out one, which is the biggest one we face right now, and it's the fluorine-free foams. We are coming closer to legislations all around the world. It has already been implemented in parts of Australia, and it is soon to be implemented in some of the states in US. And discussions are ongoing in the EU, and we think 3-4 years, something like that. And what has Fogmaker done? We have tested approximately 50 different products the last 3 years, and we continue to test a lot. We have cooperation with 2 major suppliers of foam. We are deeply involved in designing the recipe together with them. What has been the result? The fluorine-free foams are not as efficient as the standard AFFF. We currently need 50% more agent to do the same job. We have also seen that a lot of the competitor products are fake. They are not fluorine-free. So we have and will continue to crack down products from competitors so that we know which ones that are legitimate to use. And in the plans right now is to get the R107 certificate as a first step. We have a plan to do that within 2 months, or ASAP, I would say. And then we will continue with other certifications. we will have continuous testing for new products that appear on the market. And I reach out to you if you find a new product. Please tip us. Tell us what you find. Give us the tips. Yes, hints. Because it's very hard for us to have knowledge of all products on the market. But what we have seen is that there is a lot of fake things out there. So, but yeah, we try to scan the whole market.
Yeah, Örebro University, they have a special project to scan FluorInFlo products, and I think about 50% of the product they checked were containing some part of PF. And if we are selling such a product, for example, to United States or to Australia, where the customer specified fluorine-free, that means 0, not even lower than reported limits, then we could be in a really big trouble. So therefore, we are extremely careful in this case. We have some lights in the tunnel, so we think it could have some opportunities to have a success this spring, but it's a long way because this is a mill standard which has been in place since the Second World War, and suddenly it should just be outplaced with some, as it is now, most of it is just some rubber component, natural rubber. So we need to find, I think we need to think a little bit outside the box, not only to ask foam suppliers, but ask other chemistry knowledge people with a more broader knowledge how we can approach this problem.
And as I've written below here is that it's extremely important that we will never compromise regarding the core value integrity. We will only sell what is truly fluorine-free. Because this will be one of our unique selling points for the future. Any questions, Anja?
No, it's quiet.
Okay, good. New markets. We are trying to establish Russia as a market during 2021. Very special market with need of certificates, and also, of course, the size of the country is a challenge. They have a lot of mining, construction equipment, and forestry industry. We also already know that we have a lot of machines there with our systems, so we really need to establish this fast. Next market is Brazil. We have already started out, and we will soon have 3 partners there. Also a challenge with the size. The opportunities are great. A lot of mining, a lot of agriculture, a lot of forestry, and of course, future possibilities in bus. Right now, they don't have the demand for Euro 6, but it will come. South Korea is now established with partner. We all know there are a great deal of manufacturing of machines there, and also the bus market is big. India, we have had operations there for some years, but it's a tough market with demands on low cost and unique certifications. They have the AIS 135 for bus, which is very special. We hope this year can be a breakthrough. Egypt has been on the agenda for some years. We have a bus customer there, and they also have a great deal of port activities. We are right now working on establishing partnerships there. Potential future segments. What do we see in if we, lift up our heads and look towards the horizon? Power generation. There have been a lot of interest for gensets the last years. We have made some installations, and we now want to establish it as a segment, and probably also include substations, generator stations. We will also continue to track the wind power industry. We know there is a need of fire suppression systems, and there will be more info to come during this year. So the picture you see down to the right is a substation on fire, just to show you how devastating it could be. The importance of the electrical network will be extreme when we go for electrical vehicles. And these kind of substations contain a lot of oil, so it burns like a torch. Battery fires. We will make more tests this year. And to be honest, it's more of research than development. We will not promote anything until we feel comfortable with the solution. The greatest obstacle is to get into the batteries, and that is what is needed to put out those kind of fires. We have started up a collaboration with a battery manufacturer right now, so we'll see where it leads. Railway, here we have some experience, but it's a jungle of directives and country-based legislations. Here I turn to you, and all input you have is welcome regarding this segment. And please send it directly to me, as we don't have a responsible person decided yet for this segment. Marine. We got information just the other day that they will introduce stage 5 engines. And that means that the need for a fire suppression system in leisure boats with inboard engines might increase. There have been initiatives in some countries, but it's still not firm enough to create a segment. And we see that on those markets where there have been initiatives, mostly powder systems are used to have a really low cost.
Lars?
Yes?
Regarding railway, we have a question.
Yes.
Any thoughts on providing passenger compartment fire safety and underground fire suppression as well is a follow-up question.
Yes. No, not at the moment any plans for that. The plan is to try to work on the areas with engines or other components which can start the fires. But of course, it could be an option in the future.
Yes.
Yes. Then we have a new thing, refrigerators or so-called reefers for cooled transports. And these ones are known to catch fire now and then. And at the last Fires in Vehicles conference, they showed some examples of ships going down due to this. We have started a pre-study, and we will give you more information through Fog Making News later on. There's both for trucks as on-road transportation with reefers, and of course on ships with containers with reefers. So we will have more information later on with this. We know that some installations have been made in United States, and it's a little bit problematic because there is a lack of space to put the suppression system. Electrical vehicles. We try to give you some information in every Fog Making News and so on. And it's very hard to do this in a short time, but I will just give you some main leads and focuses. We cover right now on, for example, an electrical bus, the compressors, the power steering, the heaters, and all possible fire risks that we can see surrounding the batteries. This is we need to prevent the battery from catching fire. That is the leading star right now. If the customer wishes to cover the batteries with water mist, of course it's okay, but we can never guarantee a successful suppression. But it will buy time for evacuation of the passengers. Also, one thing to note is that the 12 or 24 volt system is known to have great risks, and especially the cables can be a hazard. What you can see on electrical vehicles is that the focus is very much on the power distribution for the driveline. And then they tend to forget the 12-volt system. We are working hard now to handle the myth of electrical systems and water mist. We need to do some testing, and this takes time. We cannot just rely on the theory. There are a lot of papers written in this topic since the 80s. We have already busted some of these myths, but as we use our unique agent, we need to test it for our system also. It's a matter of droplet sizes, it's a matter of the agent. There are a lot of things that really is creating this electrical flow or conductivity. Also, we try to handle the risks connected to damaging the equipment and what IP class that is needed for the components to withstand the agent we have today. We have, of course, made research on this before, and we know that IP66 is needed, but we need more research to be absolutely sure, as most of the electrical vehicles are newly designed and they do not always follow the old standards of engineering. There are a lot of new manufacturers in this market which have not been in the traditional way securing according to certificates like IATF for the vehicle industry. So there is a lack of knowledge in the industry. And at the same time, as I mentioned, we are approaching battery manufacturers both to gain knowledge and to benchmark their view on fire safety. And we see a growing interest in general from both electrical vehicle producers and battery manufacturers, that they understand that they must take care of these risks, which really exists. Any questions around that, Anja?
No questions.
So, what about this year? We see that the year will start slower than the levels we had during the autumn. This is due to the strong second wave, but we get positive signals. The situation slowly will begin to get back to what it was after the summer. We have set a goal of 27% growth, which means that we aim at 10% higher turnover than 2019. A lot of this growth is, of course, getting back lost volumes, but it's also a great deal of new market shares. We will increase the support from Fogmaker International to US as a partner, but we will also increase the demands. This goes hand in hand. And I hope you really see that we are trying to have more and more interaction with you. And we see that a lot of markets have a lot of opportunities in the different segments that are not explored. So there is a huge potential. And if we look at the graph, you can see that we have those blue lines showing 2021, 2022, 2023, and the growth will continue. And the biggest concern right now is what happens after COVID. How much market is still there? How much need is accumulated? So, yeah, we will see. We have also put together some goals for the partner network and, of course, for Fogmaker International. We would like to double the sales for the segments that are not bus, from a share of 7% to 14%. It's a tough task, but I think we can do it. We should establish the new markets, which I mentioned, that are ongoing. We should develop the current markets with a minimum overall growth of 15% for partners. extremely important that we establish this reporting of segment sales from the partners. I've mentioned it before and I will mention it again, and I will never stop because this is driving how we should work with research and development. If we don't know where the sales end up, we don't know where to put our money for R&D. So it's extremely important. We should also establish the installation database globally. I know you got a teaser in the autumn, and I know that some of you are trying out the system right now. It has taken a bit longer time than we expected, but yeah, the situation is as it is, and we try to launch it widely during the year. And of course, one goal is when it's safe to travel, we will start meeting you all in person. I think that's a really good goal to have. And regarding the development of the electrical vehicles and so on, I got a quote from an old Greek, Socrates. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. I think that's something that I want to send to you. A lot of people are really fighting the old. These electrical vehicles will never work, and but the focus should be building the new instead. Put the energy to that. Okay, that was all for now. Andreas, do you have any last words?
Yes, I would just like to say that thank you all for what you've done 2020, and I'm personally very positive for the 2021, despite the COVID, which will probably affect us for the first half year in 2021. But as Lars mentioned, we have a good market position in the bus segment. In market segments, we believe we have roughly 70% of the European market. It's always a threat to think that everything is safe and you can recline back, and that's the first nail in the coffin. But if we're focusing into adding more value to our customers, for example, now we are looking to have more pre-bent, prepared, pre-filled, and cut up detector lines, etc., to add more value to the customers. So we will have a more simplicity into the installation process. That's a good point. Another thing is, as Lars mentioned, that we're also focusing into the other segments with the high-end customers, like agriculture. You have special machines in agriculture, like for potato, for cotton picking, for sugar beets, whatever. Extremely expensive machines costing €1 million and up, and they work for just a few weeks a year. If something happens, it's not also about the machine itself, but the production losses and contracts, everything which will be messed up. So I think there is a great potential in that kind of new business which has been flying under the radar. Some other positive news are, for example, the slag handling, and we have been approaching Harsco. They got 7,000 machines worldwide. They have extremely high demands, not cost sensitive, but very sensitive into quality and servicing. And keep in mind, Harsco is just one player. You have many other big ones. I heard from Bodo last week that they made some crests now, went up to Brazil. So we believe that this could be a very good, spread out effect that's going to create a lot of rings on the water, and they understand that there is an alternative for powder or Ansel or Kid or whatever we've been using before. So we have a great potential to grow into new areas. So I see first half year a little bit bumpy, and we're going to use that time for developing products and also the sharp organization, find out more about interesting markets where we can put in our efforts together. And appreciate that we can also share more information together when things are happening in a positive way. Regarding rail, I was approached by an old friend yesterday. He's just been sacked from Tyco, working there for 25 years. He's going to be retired next year. So he hopefully he can join the team somehow with his expertise. He's a railway engineer. living in UK and worked with rail since he was a young boy, I think for 40 plus years. So, and yesterday also I've been approached by another competitor. I can't tell you the name because he's now in the legal process, but he's been working with their development for 15 years, and he would like to add more add our products into another segment which we are not present in at the moment. So it's quite interesting to see that if we're having a good value and base, we've been attractive as a partner for others which have been working for competitors before. So I think you're going to have a lot of positive news coming into within a couple of months.
Yes. We have to ride out the storm.
Yeah.
And then we can go on.
Yeah, and as it looks now, it's only Buzzworld as an exhibition who is still in place. Interschutz is postponed, as you know, for 2022. And as soon as things go a bit normal, we try to start up the partner meeting here in Växjö, but probably not before next year.
Okay. So no more questions as we could see, but I wish you a good rest of the week, and I hope we have inspired you a little. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Nice to see you.